Hey, you ready for some more stargazing? Tonight's a really good one. Come on out and join me. Alright, yep. You know I already have the blanket out, but we won't need the telescope tonight. Tonight we are going to take a look at... Yep, just give me your hand. And... there. That you're seeing is Virgo, one of the zodiac. But Virgo is special for a whole bunch of reasons. Like, did you know that Virgo is the second largest constellation there is? The other one you can barely even see, so really it's the biggest. Basically. Now, you probably know that Virgo is just called the Virgin, and that's one way to refer to it, but another more interesting way is to look at it as the goddess Dorky. Dorky was the goddess of justice. She was one of Zeus's many, many daughters, and the most popular story about her is, well, Dorky lived on Earth during the Golden Age. You know, well, maybe you don't know, but the ages of mankind in Greek mythology were divided like the Golden Age was when Cronus ruled Olympus, and like everything was supposedly good and amazing, and humans never died, and food was plentiful, and things were awesome. Which, of course, we all know Cronus didn't rule forever. Eventually, Zeus, little bastard that he is, overthrew his old man, and that marked the beginning of the Silver Age, and then eventually there were the ages of iron and bronze, and, well, during all of these ages, Dorky lived on Earth amongst the humans. And during the Golden Age, when things were so amazing, men and women and everyone just lived like royalty. They didn't have to work, they didn't have to be sad, they didn't have to fight. And Dorky lived among them, just giving out her wisdom and dispensing justice when she needed to, as was her role. And, well, then Zeus got power hungry and the Silver Age started. Well, the Silver Age kind of started the downward spiral and kind of made the world more like it is today. You know, with seasons, and it also marked the time where humans became like we know them to be today, which is to say petty and full of squabbles. Well, Dorky really missed the really, idyllic Golden Age. So she assembled the entirety of the human race, and she basically gave them the lecture of a lifetime for turning their backs on the peaceful ways of their ancestors. And she warned them, basically, that they're gonna see far worse than they have right now, so they better fucking buckle up. She, at that point, after, dropping the mic, just spread her wings and flew off to the mountains. She was pretty much done with humanity, and frankly, I don't blame her, seeing as, well, look at the state of some of humanity today and realize that she was witnessing the very start of that, so I'd be kinda done with it too. But anyway, as she stayed in the mountains and lived her life there in isolation, she just kind of watched as the new ages came in and humanity kept progressing further down the path of, war and, like, pettiness, and, well, she couldn't deal with it any longer. Dorky abandoned Earth and humanity, And instead, she just chose to fly up to the stars, and that's where she remains to this day, right up there next to Libra. And it's fitting, she's the goddess of justice, and Libra is the scales of justice, so they are tied together. Yeah, pretty cool, right? Even today, even after she turned her back on everything humanity had become, she's still up there watching over us. She doesn't truly hate humanity. She doesn't want this bad life for us. She wants better. And she's still there. She's just waiting for us to come together again and return to the golden age where things were good, there was no war, and people loved one another. And, well, no, I don't actually believe that when world peace inevitably happens in 5,000 years, that, a beautiful goddess is going to fly down from the sky and the stars and, return to live amongst us. But on the other hand, it's kind of a comforting thought, isn't it? That we're being watched over by the stars themselves, by this beautiful, almighty goddess who just wants the best for us, and is just waiting for us to realize what's best for us too. Yeah, good eye. She is actually holding things. If you see there, in her left hand, she's holding what appears to be, well, for all intents and purposes, like a line to us, but in all of the depictions, it's shown to be like a little sprig of wheat. And there in her other hand is a bundle of leaves. This is representative of the fact that, she lived on Earth during its most prosperous time, whenever wheat and food and life was abundant. And she carried bits and pieces of those with her to the stars to almost... I don't know. It's something to think about, isn't it? Do you think she carried them up there with her to remind her of the really nice and prosperous times, or do you think she carried them up there to remind us? I'm not quite sure. I like to think that it's a little bit of both. Like, she didn't want to let go of her hope for humanity and what it could become again. And at the same time, she didn't want us to forget what we could be either. But that's just me. Why she actually is holding them, your thoughts on the matter are as valid as mine. Oh, but something I always thought was cute. The really bright star that you see there just above her hand, like where the wheat is, or where the wheat is supposed to be, the really, really bright star is named Spica. And Spica is the old Latin name for ear of grain. Yeah. Something else really cool about Virgo, or Dorky, is just the fact that the whole constellation, it contains the autumnal equinox. Yeah. The point where the sun crosses the celestial equator, usually mid-September each year. Yeah. In very, very old times, the equinox used to be in Libra, but actually, because of the way that the Earth moves on its axis, eventually the autumn equinox shifted to Virgo. I think that happened almost 3,000 years ago now? Yeah, you're right, it will eventually change again, but it won't go back to Libra. Eventually, I think the next in line for it would be Leo, but that'll be hundreds and hundreds of years after we're long gone. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. I just wanted to tell you about another constellation that I think is really cool. So, I hope that you're still having a good time with me well, frankly, being a gigantic nerd. I really appreciate you joining me for this, and next time, who knows what we'll talk about. But one thing I know for sure is that I'm gonna have a great time so long as you're right there with me.